Welcome, everybody, to the Anxiety Coaches podcast. And I know that you have been waiting for more guests to come on. And so today I am blessed, actually, to have John Ashraf with us. He is a world renowned mindset and success expert, and he's appeared on numerous shows such as Larry King Live, Anderson Cooper, and the Ellen DeGeneres Show. And he has built, this is the important parts, he has built 5 multi-million-dollar companies, written 14 books, including 2 New York Times bestsellers, and he's appeared in 16 movies, including ones that you know of, the blockbuster hit The Secret and Quest for Success with Richard Branson and the Dalai Lama. He's passionate in helping people tap into their brain's superpower so that they shatter limitations and achieve their fullest potential. And that's why I thought he would be such a fabulous guest for us. John founded myneurogym.com, which is revolutionizing mindset coaching and mental fitness training. And his powerful Inner Size app, which I looked into, and it's actually very cool. It helps people rewire their brain for unstoppable success. And John's here to talk about that with us today because, as all of you listening know, this isn't a one shot deal. We don't just listen to a podcast and everything changes. This takes our practice. So, welcome to the show, John.
Hi, Gina. It's great to be with you and your audience.
Thank you. Thank you. You're someone that I've known of way back since the Secret days, and I know you have done so much work since then. What I love about your work is that it continued to grow. It continued to change with the more, haven't we learned a lot since those days? It's
Oh my God, have we ever? Yeah.
it's incredible. So I wanted first to I'd like to start because one of the things that I remember and I share with my listeners is that our challenges are often our greatest teachers and they move us along in life. And you've been around a while now. I've been around probably a lot longer than you, but you are not a young chick. So I am fascinated by how people got to where they are. And I wondered if you could start by sharing a little bit about your journey, how you
Mm.
got here, what brought you to this kind of work.
Oh, well, it's a great question. And hi, everyone. A lot of insecurity, a lot of family challenges, alcoholic father, gambler father, hardworking father, beat my ass off father, um, um, high school challenges, grade school challenges, principal challenges, teacher challenges, um, jail, the morgue possibilities as a young age because I was doing illegal things, getting into a lot of trouble, moving from one country to another where I didn't know the language and feeling insecure at a very young age and falling behind, just feeling stressed a lot as a child brought me to here. And my teen years, like 12 to 18, turmoil, just turmoil. And then something changed. My brother, who was really actually concerned for my well-being and safety, and I did have a friend who died. I had another friend who went to jail, and we were all
Mm,
part of a little gang.
yeah.
So, not talking about things that aren't true or weren't possibilities. And he was concerned for me. And he asked me if I would meet this friend of his who he was teaching tennis to. And then I would, if I said yes, I'd have to take the train from where I lived, 350 miles from Montreal to Toronto, to meet this guy, and his name was Alan Brown. And I took the train 5.5 hours. My brother picked me up, went over to the restaurant, and Mr. Brown, who's a very successful real estate developer, very calm, very present. Philanthropist and a highly successful entrepreneur with like 7 real estate offices, building sites of homes all over Toronto. Um, asked me why I was feeling that way. What was I doing with my life? And I really didn't have any answers other than, I want to make some money. I want to fit in. I left high school at grade 11. My father beat the hell out of me as a kid because I wouldn't do well in school and I got in trouble with the law. And he says, "Okay, I understand that. I'm sorry." And he said, like, "What are your goals and dreams?"
Mm.
I said, "Well, at the time, I was making $1.65 an hour. I was
Mm.
living with my parents and didn't have a car. And I was working at this shipping department that I hated for an electronics company. Many of you know it's called Philips Electronics.
Mm.
And my life was a mess. I was miserable. I was unhappy, except for when I was with my little street gang and or my little posse. And so he asked me some questions about what I wanted to achieve, and I told him those three things. He goes, "That's nice." He said, "But what else do you want to achieve?" And I said, "Well, I haven't even thought about that." And he gave me a document, like a document with some questions on it, and he asked me to
Mm.
answer these questions. And the first question was like, "At what age do you want to retire?" And I thought that was a crazy question because I was
Yeah.
19 at the time. And second question, what net worth do you want to have? And I asked him, what does net worth mean? Where do you want to travel? What kind of lifestyle do you want? Who do you want to help? How do you want to feel? And I just like, what am I supposed to write here, Mr. Brown? He said, just imagine. And so I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff. And he looked at it and he says, "Oh, that's great. You want to travel the world. You want to have nice clothes. You want to retire your parents. You want to give money to charities. And you want to have a good life." I said, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "I'm going to ask you one question. And the answer to this question will determine whether you achieve all of these things."
Mm.
In the back of my mind, Gina, I was thinking, yeah, sure. One question is going to determine if I achieve all of these things. And he leaned in and he said to me, "John, are you interested in achieving these things or are you committed to achieving them?"
Oh,
And I said to him, I said, that's an interesting question. I said, like, what's the difference? And this changed my life.
wow.
It's this of over 1 million people. If you're interested, you do what's easy and convenient, and you come up with stories and reasons and excuses about your present circumstances or your past or him or her or them or it, and it controls your life, and you just keep living the same present moment of this negativity and this awareness and this focus, and you keep reinforcing and repeating those patterns. He says, but people who are committed to a better future, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially,
Mm.
says they upgrade their identity to match the new destiny. They upgrade their beliefs about what's possible. They upgrade their skills so that they're more aware, okay, of their thoughts, their emotions, their behaviors, their expectations. He says they develop new empowering habits that match the new vision and goals they want versus repeating more of what they don't want. So he looks at me and he says, "So now that you know, which are you?" And Gina, I don't know why. I'm just so tired of being so sick and tired of my results in my life because I was embarrassed of it. I was ashamed of it. I was self-judgmental about it. I didn't feel smart enough, good enough, worthy enough. And out of my mouth just came, "Well, I'm committed." And then the most beautiful thing in the world happened. He reached out his hand and he says to me, "In that case, I will be your mentor." And I said, "Wow, thank you, Mr. Brown. What's a mentor?" And he taught me what a mentor was. And that was the beginning of the shift, as I like to call it.
Mm.
Um, because as soon as I said I was committed, I had to like be and think and feel and do the things in alignment with being committed. It
Mm.
was hard because I
Yeah.
didn't know how. But he showed me how to manage my awareness. He showed me how to change my self talk. He showed me how to be able to manage my emotions no differently than a Hollywood actor or actress can change their emotions on a dime with one instruction. Be happy, be sad, be fearful, be anxious, be stressed out. Don't be stressed out, laugh. And he said, you can learn how to do that so you're not a victim of the disempowering, negative, destructive thoughts or emotions or conditions. And so I started to learn. I started to see the world differently, but more importantly, I started to see me differently.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got a little taste of what's possible, this is 45 years ago,
Yeah.
right? I just couldn't stop. And I've been, behavioral neuroscience researcher now for many, many, many years, specializing in neuroscience and neuropsychology and understanding what's going on in my head, what's going on in your head, in her head, in his head, in their head. Because one of the things I learned, maybe we can jump off from this one, is every brain functionally works the same.
Mm.
My brain, your brain, a person listening's brain who's 30 or 80, her brain works the same as my brain. Now, here's what I discovered. Some people don't know how their brain works, part one. Part two, some people don't have the skills yet to achieve what they want to achieve, even though it's achievable.
Yeah.
And so in my research and study and writing and being in movies, I share the research. I share what we've discovered. I've shared what I've discovered. I've shared what I've, shared with I don't know, about a million students now over the last 25 years or so.
Mm.
And we've had people who are depressed not be depressed anymore. People who have been anxious, stressed beyond belief, traumatized once, twice, five times for years, borderline, hypertension. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
And by shifting what's going on inside,
Yeah.
we're able to shift what's happening outside.
Now,
So,
do you think, John, that some of that comes first from, this is something I ask my clients that I work with, do they believe that they can be different? Because some people actually do not.
of course, some people believe they do not because they have evidence to the contrary.
Mhm.
Right? So beliefs will drive our behavior, but beliefs, good ones, bad ones, constructive ones or destructive ones,
Mhm.
they're the lens by which we see the world. And we have to behave in alignment with our beliefs.
Mhm.
But let's go a little bit beyond that. And let's ask any human, like I've worked with a lot of people, and anybody ask this one question. Ready? Were you born with any beliefs at all
Mhm.
when you were
No,
born?
none at all.
Oh, and that's for every human. There's been about 108 billion humans that have walked on this planet
Mm.
since the beginning of time. And not one human was born with one belief. Part one. Part two. What is a belief in the
Mhm.
brain? Like, what is
Yeah.
it? Like, most people, if I ask most people, I don't care if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a homemaker, employed, unemployed, retired, 15 years old or 55 years old, doesn't matter. I ask, explain to me what is a belief in the brain and where are yours?
Mm. They can't find them.
Well, they can't find them. They can't tell me where they are, uh,
Mhm.
but they also can't tell me the two different types of beliefs or um, how they developed all the beliefs that they have.
Well,
Um,
let's open that up, John. Tell us the two types of beliefs.
well, there's one type of belief is called a declarative belief, and it's a belief that I can declare. I said, yeah, I deserve to be happy.
Mhm.
I believe that.
Mhm.
I am capable of achieving my goals, right? Or, another belief is I'm not capable of achieving my. I can declare that.
Right.
But a non-declarative belief is one that's beneath the surface that is part of our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And it could be a belief that I deeply feel like I am not worthy, or I don't deserve it, or I'm not smart enough, or good enough, or worthy enough to have X, be X, let go of X, do X, experience Y, whatever the case might be. So we have these two types of beliefs that are always at play, and it formulates our story.
Yeah.
And then our story is what sets up our expectations. But our story, combined with our beliefs, also is the lens by which my brain makes sense of the world. So my brain looks for the matches, the evidence to keep me saying that what I believe is actually true.
Yeah.
Now, the question really becomes is, in the brain, what is a belief? And I want everybody to have this, maybe this visual, since I know a lot of people will be listening to this, right?
Yes.
Imagine that you think of brain cells, and in the brain when we're born, there's about 100 billion of them.
Mm.
And the average brain cell, or marble as I like to call them, makes about 7,000 connections to other brain cells
Mm.
in most of the brain. But another part of the brain makes about 100,000 connections. It's part of the cerebellum. And so the connections that we make, right? We develop these beliefs when we hear our mother or father or sister or brother or teacher or the TV show we're watching or the book that we're reading, share something that's a belief. It's really hard to overcome stress.
Yeah.
You hear or see a mother or father or sibling feeling anxious, when the TV goes on, or somebody walks in the room, or they're hangry, and it makes them anxious or stressed out. And so we start to associate what they say, what they're experiencing, with what reality is. So we
Right.
can formulate these neural connections or patterns. And the way that our brain works is like this. Let's say I taught everybody here a sentence in Chinese, and we practiced it for a minute. You'd activate those brain cells. Those brain cells will make connections as you were learning the sentence, and you might be able to repeat it while we're experiencing and talking about it right now. But if I asked you to repeat that sentence, 4 weeks from now, you're not going to remember it. Why?
Right.
Because you initially fired those neurons, they wired together, but they wired in short-term memory for now. But long-term memory, implicit beliefs or implicit sentences, require spaced repetition with emotion and experience. So every belief that you and I have, started obviously when we were born. We developed, what do we believe about ourselves? Are we good enough, worthy enough, smart enough, deserving enough? What did our teachers say about us? What did our brother or sister or mother or father say about us? What did they say when we didn't do well in school? What did they say when we did well in school, but it's not good enough? You could do better. So we develop these mental constructs or patterns, like a software, on your cell phone, or a software on your computer, a software that runs your car. We
Mhm.
develop these belief patterns in the brain, and those become our software. Now, most of the software isn't the truth.
Yeah.
The beliefs are not the truth. They're my beliefs, they're my truth,
Yeah.
because I have evidence either from my mother, my father. When I couldn't ask why, how come, is that true? Is it always true? Right. And so we didn't have the what's called the questioning or deductive reasoning abilities to question those beliefs.
Right.
I'll
And it
give you
wasn't safe to do that either. That would not have been safe.
yeah. So I'll give you an example. Everybody finish this sentence, okay? Um, we are all creatures of.
Habit.
Oh, how did you know that? I was thinking that. How did you know that?
Yeah.
You heard it 500 times. Money is the root of all
Evil.
evil. Oh my God, how did you know that? Right? There's all these sayings that we heard, even though, for example, in the Bible, and I'm not religious, it never even says that in the Bible. It
Right.
says the love of money is the root of all evil, and it got misconstrued into this myth
Yeah.
that Money is the root of all evil. Money is no more the root of all evil than your pen is. You can take your pen and poke it in somebody's eye and kill them, or you can take a pen and write them a beautiful poem.
Exactly.
So when we
Well, John, I want to ask you before we get too far gone with that, is there somewhere? So, what do we do with that? That we've built this up, we've got this belief system. It may not be true. Most of it probably is not, but we believe it. Now, where does the neuroscience come in and all the work that you've done to what point do we have that awakening? Is that through awareness? Where do we get that first little burst of, I might be able to do something different, even though I feel all this right now?
Yeah. So the intersection of neuroscience is disempowering or empowering beliefs will create, right, our awareness of reality.
Yeah.
But it will also create what we focus on. And it'll also create our self-talk, and it will also create our emotions, and it will also create and reinforce our stories, and we behave in alignment with our beliefs and stories. That's kind of like part one. So let's ask ourselves a question. Is it possible for me to change a belief or create a new belief that's more empowering? And the answer is, well, if our brain can make connections and those connections can be reinforced, then how do I do that? And here's the good news. There's a body of work called neuroplasticity. And all that means is the brain's ability to rewire itself. So people have heard maybe, somebody who's had a traumatic brain injury or have been partially paralyzed because of an accident of some kind, their brain will rewire and it'll actually allow them to do the things with another part of the brain that this other part of the brain was using before. That's the brilliance of neuroplasticity. So the first thing that we say, okay, we all have beliefs. Some are good, some are challenging, some are constructive and build me up, some tear me down, but they're only a pattern in my brain. And here's the question. Is that belief helping you achieve the life you want? Is it helping you, achieve your love goals, your health goals, your physical health goals, your mental goals, your emotional goals? Is it helping you? Yes or no? This one is, this one is, this one is, this one isn't, this one isn't, this one isn't. Great. Write down a belief you have that isn't serving you, isn't helping your life. Just write it down. Here's my belief. And here's a small little exercise, or what I call is an inner size.
Inner size. I love that.
Let's change our brain's focus and let's write that same thing, but slightly differently. In the past, I used to believe blank, blank, and blank.
Yeah.
And now I'm choosing to believe, change that into a powerful, empowering, constructive belief. So, and now I'm choosing to believe, and this is helping me achieve what I want, which is bam, bam, bam.
Okay.
So we go from this disempowering belief. Now we're going to write out a new belief, right? We're going to write it out first. And we're going to say, this is helping me now achieve this. So I used to believe this, so we're not discounting what I used to believe. We're creating a bridge in our brain from what I'm choosing to use this new language pattern. As soon as we say in the past, our brain, which is very, very smart, says, oh, okay. In the past, you used to believe that, and now you're choosing to believe this, which is going to help you achieve that, which is what you want. Now, if you say that, if you record that on your mobile phone, if you videotape yourself and you listen to it and watch it and feel what it would be like to have this new belief one time, don't even do it.
Right.
All right, so here's what I'd like to have everybody commit to. 10 times a day for the next 10 days. Create one or two beliefs, record them on your mobile phone, all right, and hear it, repeat it, feel it, and then here's just one last thing. Hear it, feel it, repeat it, and then take one small action step to behave in a way that'll make this new belief more real. So now we're going to activate reading it, hearing it, feeling it, behaving in a way that aligns with it. And here's what happens. Whatever we repeat, our brain automates.
Okay.
Whatever we repeat, our brain automates. So consistency compounds.
Yeah.
If I consistently feel anxious, think about, oh, I'm so anxious. He makes me anxious. She makes me anxious. That makes me anxious. I'm always so anxious. Oh my God, I hate being anxious. It's terrible. And I need this, and I need that. And you feel this consistent cortisol stress of
Mhm.
anxiousness. Most people don't know that, but they're actually making the emotional reaction or response center of the brain, the amygdala, they're making it bigger. So you are making that, think of it as a muscle. You're making your anxious muscle stronger.
Yes, exactly.
Like, why would you want to make your anxious muscle stronger? And feeling action is an effect, right? So we'll come back to that. But first, I want to start creating a new empowering belief system, and I
Hmm.
start focusing on my self-talk, because every word, every sentence I say, if you think about it, as I'm speaking right now,
Hmm.
electrical activity is firing in my brain, right? Our brain is an electrical magnetic organism.
Hmm.
So it's firing, these electrical activities, which is now releasing neurochemicals.
Yes.
So am I releasing the feel good love neurochemicals called
Mhm.
oxytocin, right?
Mhm.
Which moms and babies, bonding, share.
Mhm.
What about serotonin, right? The
Yeah.
feel good neurochemicals. What about a dopamine, the reward neurochemical?
Mhm.
I'm talking positively to myself. I'm actually feeling positive because I'm choosing to. Way to go. Dopamine's being released. Or,
Mhm.
and by the way, when we do that, any of those types of things, we're activating a part of the brain called the nucleus accumbens, which is the reward center of the brain. And when we do that, we now give a signal to this amygdala that I'm choosing to be positive, to feel good, to have a positive expectation. I'm choosing to. And our brain's paying attention. And it's going, okay, you did that for today. Okay, great. But if you do it tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day, you do it for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you deliberately choose a state of being. You deliberately choose the way you speak to yourself because somebody important is listening. You deliberately feel the way you want to feel, and you override the other patterns that are normal for you and your default. Now who's in control? Your old self and your familiar self, the part of you that expects you to be anxious and stressed and worried and ruminate on the negative. Like, is that what you want to reinforce, or do you want to stop that in its tracks and change tracks and
Yes.
reinforce that? So neuroplasticity says you can deliberately and consciously evolve yourself now.
Yes.
And if we start doing that, and we know that repetition is the mother of reinforcing patterns.
Hmm.
Reinforcing patterns within a period of time, we go from explicit hard work, right? Willpower, persist
Yeah.
to do it, into a implicit automatic pattern that then overrides the old pattern. Now it builds that.
Yes. I want people to really hear that, because that change, that overriding of the old pattern takes time and repetition, and like you said, commitment.
Commitment. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're either going to commit to more of what you have and it's going to get worse. It doesn't stay the same.
Mm,
Nothing stays the same. So you
mm,
either, create or disintegrate. So are the patterns that you're reinforcing empowering you, positive, feel good, and you want more of that? Or are they disempowering, don't feel great, and you don't want more of that? Because we get whatever it is that we want more of or don't want more of. When we are committed, we can make the change.
yeah.
So here's something that might serve the audience. According to some of the latest research, it takes between 66 days and a year, okay, to create and reinforce a new pattern, which will then override an old pattern.
Yeah.
Here's what I tell all of my students. Would you be willing to invest, not pay the price of, invest
Yeah.
15 minutes a day to train your brain so that you can have it work for you and help you be the person you want to be, feel the things you want to feel, stop the things you don't want? Would you be willing to invest 15 minutes a day? And here's my just warning. If you're not, then what about 10 minutes? If you're not 10 minutes, what about starting with 5 minutes? But for 100 days, you're going to remain consistent to an empowering, constructive shift. So
Okay.
even if I can get you say, John, I'll do it for 1 minute a day, but no more than that. I'll say, good, I'll take it. I like to start people off with 15, but if you could do 1 minute a day for 100 days, here's what I can promise you. And again, I prefer you to start with 15, but I'll give you a range. I want you to reduce what you're willing to commit to until you say to yourself, okay, that I can do.
I can do. Okay.
As soon as I can get you to say, okay, that I can do, that I will do, then the commitment to 100 days does this. When you do something, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, your brain says, okay, I'm motivated to do this. This isn't that much. And we do reduce it to the ridiculously small. And but then what happens after 7 days, you're doing this, your brain says, well, 1 minute's not a lot of time. 5 minutes is not a lot of time. Let me add a minute. So all good behaviors reinforce and accelerate other good behaviors.
Yes.
And all disempowering negative ones reinforce and accelerate negative ones.
That's important for everybody to hear. Say that again, John.
So all good behaviors, like a good thought pattern, a good emotional, deliberately feeling happy, just deliberately feeling happy. And I'm going to share a story with you about my mother in just a moment.
Okay.
So all good behaviors reinforce more good behaviors, and then they help you build and get momentum that way. And then all bad behaviors lead to more of that and help you accelerate those. I'll share a story with you about my mother before she died. She was 87 when she transitioned, but around 80, I had gone to visit her. My mother was born in Romania. She left Romania when she was 12 years old and took her 8-year-old sister when the Russians were invading Romania. And they went to Cyprus to live in a refugee camp for 3 years.
Wow.
And she was traumatized. I believe she was traumatized. Let me just put it that way.
Yes.
And it affected her whole life. And then she met my father on a kibbutz, and they had a great fling for a year. She got pregnant, they got married, had 2 more kids, but for 40 years were miserably married. But he didn't want to leave because she had children, and she believed in, you made a commitment for life, you raise a family. Even though they should have gotten divorced probably after year 3. But that means I wouldn't be here. Anyway, she was manic depressive. Manic depressive for a year. She would go into massive depressions for 2, 3, 4, 5 years at a time.
Wow.
She was on medicine to go to sleep, medicine to wake up, medicine for the depression, all the medicines, 20 pills a day. And so when I'd go see her, it just progressively got worse. But at this one trip, I used to go to Montreal to see her where she lived, and she was in her chair. Her caregiver was there. She had her head down. She was feeling lethargic. She could hardly talk to me. And I go, "Hey, Mom, I just got in from Indiana, is where I lived at the time, and it's so good to see you." She goes, "Hi." I said, "Mom." I'm like, "Come on, smile for me." No, "Mom, come on." Like almost, I hadn't seen her in like 3, 4 months. I used to go every 90 days. And anyway, first day was just, sit with her, hold her hand, watch TV. Second or third day, I couldn't take it anymore. I said, "Hey, Mom, will you do me a favor?" "What?" I said, "Could you just take your fingers and open your fingers 10 times? Open, close, open, close, open, close." "No." "Mom, come on, just do one hand. No. God, you
Yeah.
won't even do one hand. No. She was getting angry now because I was trying to get her
Yeah.
to do something. She hadn't done anything in years and years and years. I said, Mom, do you love me? She goes, of course I do. I said, will you do me just one favor? Move one finger, and just like curl one finger, like point, and like ask me to come towards you, like point one. So she was hastily looking at me angry. She was fine. And she's like, moved one finger. I said, Mom,
Yeah.
just one more finger. The finger next to it is sad now because you moved that finger, but not the other. But she's getting mad at me, Gina, and she moved the second finger. I said, now, Mom, you have three fingers on your hand that are getting mad at you because you won't move them. So I'm going to make the story short. But she moved the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one. Guess what I said? Hey,
The
Mom,
other hand.
your other hand. You can't just do one hand and not the other. She's getting angry and angry, and she moves one finger, two, three, four, five. I said, great. Will you just move your legs? No. And that was the end for one day.
Okay.
Second day, I'm back. Hugs, kisses, a little bit more cordial today. And we did the same five fingers on left hand, five fingers on right hand. And on the second day, I was able to get her to move her thighs up and down, and move her feet up and down. I was there for 2 weeks. On the day I left, my flight was at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I went to see her in the morning.
Yeah.
I took her for a walk in the hall with her
Oh my
walker,
gosh.
a walk in the hall. So we made enough progress.
Oh,
And she had a one-bedroom apartment, right? Kitchen, dining room, living room, whatever, and a bedroom. And so I had her walking one time down the hall.
yep.
And we instructed her caregiver, what to do each day, the feet, the hands, and this and that.
Yep.
Within 30 days, my mother was in the gym
Oh my gosh.
in a retirement home. And you know what? She's the one who asked to be taken down there to get on the recumbent bike.
She made the connection.
She
Yeah.
made the connection because she moved. It made her, she was angry at first, then she did it, and then it just activated well, I just did that. And she activated that nucleus accumbens, the dopamine, the reward system in the
Yes.
brain. And
Yes.
she felt good. She got rewarded by me and the caregiver. And I told my
Mhm.
brother and my sister, and they gave her praise and rewarded her. So she wanted to do a little bit more. The day before she died of COVID, or not the day before she was diagnosed with COVID,
Mm.
was FaceTiming me at 87 years young.
Oh,
Okay. Hi, sweetheart. How are you? I'm just downstairs on the bike. I miss you. Full recovery, no
yeah.
more depression, no more anxiousness, no more stress, no more worry.
Yeah.
The next day, she was diagnosed with COVID. 5 days later, she had died. But the
No.
moral of the story, it doesn't matter if you're manic, depressed, bipolar, which you are. It doesn't matter how stressed out you are, how anxious you are. If you become committed to a shift, we know how to get from where you are to where you want to be. But it requires you taking a little step towards that and
Yes.
say, enough is enough. Today, I'm going to learn how. And it
Yeah.
might be challenging at first, but we're going to make the challenge so small that you can do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna, just do micro steps, regardless of where you are. For some people, it might be a minute. For some people, it might be 3 minutes. For some people, it might be 5 minutes. Some people, it might be 15 minutes. So we start with what is easy for you to do, but it's challenging a little bit. And
Right.
then we allow the momentum to
Yeah.
help you. But you
Yeah.
have to make a commitment that today I stop. I stop the disempowering self-talk. I
Yeah.
stop being the victim. I stop, traumatizing. I stop catastrophizing. I stop thinking about the past and what he or she or they did to me. I
Mm.
stop ruminating negatively. I
Mhm.
stop the blame. I stop the shame. I stop the guilt. I stop the justification.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just change. And I'm going to just do a little bit at a time, just so I can feel better, be
Yeah.
better. And when we're talking about being anxious, the question is, what is triggering you to be anxious?
Mm. Yeah.
what have you reinforced over and over and over again?
Right.
It's automatic now. And again, I want to make sure that the people do whatever I'm asking them to think about. No judgment, no
Of
blame,
course.
no
No.
shame, no guilt.
Yeah, we've all been there.
It's just
Yeah.
awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness. Yeah, I'm thinking negatively a lot. Yeah, I'm deflecting. I'm way. I'm not. I don't. I'm traumatized. Whatever. That's okay. We
Yeah.
start with where you are. We
Yeah.
validate that it's okay, and then we say, now, what's one little step I can take to just like not have this control me anymore?
And to actually use the negative thought that comes up, or the rumination, or the physical feeling of anxiety, as the awareness of, oh, there it is. Okay, so that's still there.
Right.
Just as an awareness, we don't have to go down what I call the wormhole with it. We can just use it as an awareness. Oh, that's still there.
Right.
Okay, it means you got to get back on the other track again. What am I doing to help myself not be there anymore?
Well, there's another piece to it that's worth really, understanding a little bit.
Okay.
There's a difference between emotions and
Hmm.
feelings,
Hmm. Yes.
right? So all of our emotions are triggered in this implicit subconscious mind.
Mhm.
Right? I'll give you all an example. I want you to think for just a moment that wherever you are in your car, actually, it might be dangerous in your car, but you'll understand what I mean in a moment. In your home, in your kitchen, your business, doesn't matter, friend's house, doesn't matter. I want you to imagine that out of the corner of your eye, regardless of what you're doing right now, you hear something slithering and you realize it's a 10-foot python that
Mhm.
weighs about 250 pounds as you look at it, and it is slithering fast towards you, and it looks like it wants to curl around your neck. Um, there are some people that just heard my words and they just got a little anxious.
Mhm.
And there's other people that go, oh my God, where's my camera so I can take a picture?
Okay.
Right. So
Okay.
some people
Interesting.
stress, oh my God, oh, I don't like snakes. So let me ask you a question. If not everybody reacts the same way to me talking about a snake,
Hmm.
then it cannot be the snake that's causing you to
Right.
feel that way.
Right.
So it's not the thing that you think
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
So just like we develop these beliefs,
Yes.
some people develop a belief either through their own experience or what they saw on TV or what
Mhm.
they heard or through their mother or sister that was afraid of snakes. So you learned to be afraid of snakes. So the
Mhm.
snake in your subconscious minds equals possible danger, pain,
Yeah.
death, and you're not safe. So you react, even if you haven't had the experience with a snake yourself, in accordance with the pattern in the brain.
Right. Yeah.
So feelings are the sensations in our body as a result of the neurochemicals that are subconscious released because of the meaning we have
Okay.
around the thing.
So the perception of it, the way that they personally, because it isn't the thing.
Yeah, the
It is.
meaning, the
Yeah.
perception. Yeah. So when that happens and we have stress, worry, fear, anxiety, doubt, uncertainty, panic, we
Yeah.
know that a part of the brain called the sympathetic nervous system has been activated.
Yeah.
Now, why do you need to know this? Well, we have two parts to our nervous system. We have the parasympathetic, which is our ability to be calm so we can respond.
Hmm.
And we have our sympathetic nervous system, which means we're going to automatically react at the lowest level of training we have.
Yeah.
So when somebody has anxiety over and over and over and over again, they're just repeating a pattern that's become automatic. and they don't know how to interrupt that pattern and turn off that sympathetic nervous system. What I call is Frankie's monster behind me, which most people will not be able to see. I have the Stein cousins, and I have Frankenstein's monster in a picture, and I have Einstein in a picture as well. And they remind me that there's like two parts of my brain. This part of
Ah.
my brain is what I want to achieve, how I can achieve that, how good it will feel, who it will benefit, and then here's my plans to do it. But then I have Frankie's monster that's always going, yeah, but what if negative? What if, I fail? What if it happens again? What if I lose? What if I'm embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, judged, rejected, unloved, abandoned? What if I lose? What if negative? And we all like gas pedals in our car and brakes in our car.
Yes.
Well, what if I shared with you that the part of your brain that's going off is actually going off to protect you?
Yeah.
But it doesn't need to protect you anymore the way it used to when you were a child.
Yeah.
When you were experiencing maybe some of the things that's causing you to be anxious. So now you mentioned something a couple of times, Gina, and that is I need to become more aware.
Yeah.
So when I feel anxious, when I'm ruminating over and over and over again, just an automatic part of my brain has gone off, and it's going to cause ants, ANTS, automatic negative thoughts.
Mhm.
And one of my friends, Dr. Daniel Amen, coined that term
Love him.
years ago.
Yeah.
And we want to shift over to APTS, or automatic positive thoughts. And a gal by the name of Dr. Barbara Fredrickson came up with I think it's a 3-to-1 or the 5-to-1 positivity to negativity ratio.
Mm.
Whenever we have an automatic negative thought, whenever we have, where we catch ourselves ruminating negative, whenever we feel anxious, whenever we're feeling stressed out, first of all, let's just be aware it's a pattern that's running, like software that just turned on.
Certainly.
And as opposed to being a victim of it and it controlling us, why not say, okay, I just became aware of, okay, I'm talking negatively, I feel negative, I feel anxious.
Mhm.
Are you aware? Are you aware, and this is for everybody, that if I just, in my moment of awareness, if
Mhm.
I just became aware and I just did this, I call this inner size number 1. It's called Take 6, Calm the Circuit. Now,
Like it.
if I'm stressed, worried, anxious, panicking, I've done this with my wife who had a panic attack after a major surgery.
Mhm.
I had her just, honey, look in my eyes. And for all of you, you might be alone. I want you to breathe in as slowly as you can in through your nose, as deeply as you can to fill in your lungs, and then hold it for like 3 seconds and just count 3, 2, 1. And then when you breathe out, I want you to pucker your lips, purse them, and breathe
Mhm.
out like you're breathing out through a straw. Slowly, slowly, slowly. That's 1. And feel your stress or anxiety just shrinking, okay?
Mhm.
Air coming out of a balloon when
Yeah.
you're releasing, right?
Mhm.
And so we do that 6 times, in through your nose slowly, out through your mouth slowly. The first thing that happens is we switch off the sympathetic stress, worry, doubt, anxiety circuit, because everything's a
Mhm.
circuit in the brain, and we turn on the calm circuit. So I'm going to do 3 breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth as slowly as possible. And then for the last 3, I'm going to start using some self-talk now. So now on my 4th
Mhm.
one, I'm going to go, I'm breathing in calmness. Hold it for 3, for 2, for 1. I am releasing all stress, worry, anxiety, and I feel great. That's number 4. 5, I breathe in confidence and certainty, and I release all stress, doubt,
Mhm.
worry, anxiety, and I feel great. It's 5. Number 6, I breathe in calmness and happiness and joy right now. and I'm adding emotion to it, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And I release the anxiety. I release the negative rumination. I release the disempowering feel. I release, and I feel so good right now.
Mm.
That's less than 90 seconds. And here's what we
Yes.
also know. When you keep thinking about what you're feeling, anxious, depressed, worried, doubtful, when you keep thinking about it, you're releasing neurochemicals cause you to feel. Then you're feeling what you think about, and you think what you feel about. And are you aware you just keep making that circuit stronger?
Yes.
So what we want to do is be aware and stop it, interrupt the pattern, and then create and reinforce and strengthen a new pattern. So I just shared with you inner size number 1.
Yeah.
Then you can add inner size number 2 to that. So just remember, you strengthen your physical muscles with walking or Pilates or yoga, or doing household chores. You strengthen your muscles. But by doing these inner sizes, I've created over 600 of them, you're
Yeah.
strengthening your brain's neuromuscles,
Yeah.
right? Brain muscles. And so we do that. But then inner size number 2 is called Aya. And Aya stands for AIA. In a calm state now, after I do the first inner size,
Mhm.
now I can just be calm. And in a calm state, I can become aware just before or during my anxiety or stress. What was I thinking about?
Yeah.
What was I focusing on? What triggered it? Just calmly have
Mm.
this dialogue. Become aware of your thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensations, and the behaviors that it was causing you to take or not take. Calm, 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 calm.
Yeah.
Right? Because in a calm state, we're not reinforcing the stress pattern.
Right.
In a calm state, mindful, right? You mentioned that before, being mindful. I'm asking myself some questions. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper now. And then I'm going to say, okay, I was thinking about this thing that I was worried about. I was thinking about my children, myself, my husband, my wife, my trauma, my accident, my not having money, whatever it is that's causing me
Mm.
to ruminate. Okay, great. Now, what's your intention just for the next 5 to 10 minutes? What's your intention? Is your intention to be in a state of anxiousness, stress,
Mm.
rumination, worry? Is that your intent? No, no, it's
No.
what is your intention? My intention is to be relaxed. My
Mhm.
intention is to be calm. My intention is to be happy. Um, I say, great, okay, good. So let's have those as the intention. And now let's back it up. Well, what's one thing I can do just to reinforce my intention? One thing.
Yeah.
I
And
could,
you write those down,
yeah, I could
write them down
and then go do it. No,
and
go
do it.
do it. One little thing. So now what's happening is we become aware, mindful. Now, we go a little bit deeper and go, what may be triggering this and causing this?
Mm.
And what's my intention, to keep it or to release it?
Right.
Now I'm in
Yeah.
control. Now I'm in control. You're not a tree.
Right. And so where you're in that calm state, you can make the decision that I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to choose the other thing.
Right. When we're in a state of anxiousness, doubt, worry, fear, anxiety, Frankie's monster is running the show.
Ah,
But in a calm state, Einstein's running the show.
yeah. Beautiful.
Right. So we want to operate, we want to be aware of Frankie because Frankie is like an early warning detection mechanism, okay, for the past or the present or the future.
Yeah.
Right. And so Frankie's like going to ruminate on all that stuff. And Frankie has a purpose. Every part of our brain has a purpose. Right. But we don't want to have our brain reinforce disempowering negative patterns. So we have to take another part of ourselves and go, okay, I'm going to change. And
Right.
now I'm going to operate from the Einstein part of my brain more because the Einstein part of the brain is the director of your life. But most people are allowing Frankie to direct their lives.
Mm.
Frankie is not a really, really great partner to reinforce all the negative. I mean, Frankie is a great
Exactly.
partner to reinforce the negative, right?
Yeah.
And so we want to be more aware. We want to be deliberate. We want to have some tools,
Mhm.
for health and wealth and mental fitness and emotional fitness. And
Yeah.
we're prepared to make some changes, small ones, we can get stronger. And if we get
Yeah.
stronger on the right things, then we can enjoy our lives more. And if we enjoy our lives more, we can look in the mirror and be happier. And our kids or husband or wife or whoever can look at us and go, oh my God, you're so much fun and joy to be around. And you think you're wonderful to be around, which is really what you want.
Yes. And at any age, John, that story of your mother
At any,
reinforced the idea that this is not about, you missed the boat or you didn't
no.
do it early enough. Anytime we can change.
I have students from 18 to 93 right now.
Yeah,
93.
beautiful.
And here's like, I'm going to go back and remind people of something you may remember. I shared earlier, every brain functionally works the same.
Yes.
By doing what I just suggested, those are just two out of many different techniques and tools you have, but we want to get the fundamentals first.
Right.
There's a few, I have like, 8 or 9 foundational exercises that we teach all of our students. And then once they get those, we have some more advanced ones that just take along the path. And what I want to remind everybody is every brain functionally works the same. The science of neuroplasticity says that I can turn on my neuroplasticity switch, right? No different. I could turn on my light switch in my home or my light switch in my car. We are going to deliberately help you activate your neuroplasticity switch because it turns on when you're born. It basically shuts off when you're about 13, 14, and then it reinforces from 14 to 24 to 54 to 74 to 94, unless you interrupt it, turn the
And
switch
turn it
back
on.
on, and then reinforce your own pattern.
Yeah.
We know what the positive patterns are. We know what the positive language looks like. We know that the average person, okay, new research from the University of Toronto 2 years ago, has 6,200 thoughts a day. It's not 50 or 60,000, it's 6,200. And
Okay.
the average person has 80% negative thoughts. Now let's do the math. 80% of 6,200 is about 5,000 negative thoughts a
Oh
day.
my gosh.
Yeah, just put that in perspective. That's 35,000 negative thoughts a week. That's
Yeah.
120, 30,000 negative thoughts a month.
Yeah.
And people are wondering, why am I so negative? Why am I anxious? Why am I? Because you
Why do I not feel good?
because you haven't learned that you're not your thoughts. You have thoughts.
Mhm.
Thoughts for me are like bubbles in a glass. And if you can imagine, you have 6,200 bubbles in your aquarium every day. And imagine there's red bubbles and blue ones. Blue ones represent, positive, empowering, constructive. Red ones are your negative, stress, anxiety, rumination, worry. And you have, 80% of the bubbles in the tank are red, 20% are blue. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be aware of the red and the blue. We're going to choose blue and we're going to choose to replace the red.
Yeah.
So we're going to replace 5 red, ones today, and 5 tomorrow, and 5 the next day, and 5 the next day, and 5 the next day, and 5 the next day. Now we go from 80-20, 80 negative, 20 positive, to 70-30, to
Yeah.
60-40, to 50-50. Now we're going positive 60, negative 40. Positive 70, negative 30, positive 80, negative 20. Now all of a sudden you're positive, happy, self-talk is great, you're feeling great, and you're doing the things you want to do. Now, it doesn't happen by itself.
Right.
And
Right.
that's why we started off with, are you interested in getting better, feeling better, doing more, feeling more, experiencing more?
Yeah.
Or are you interested and you're just going to keep doing whatever it takes and you're going to use the drug of choice to change? Do you know what the drug
Yeah.
of choice is?
Yeah.
Hopium.
Opium being the drug of choice?
Hopium.
Oh, hopium?
Hopium. I hope I feel
I
better.
love it.
I
Oh my
hope things
gosh.
get better. I hope he does this. I hope she stops.
Oh,
I hope, I hope, I hope, I
John,
pray.
I've never heard that. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Everybody's suffering from a drug disorder called hopium.
Oh my gosh. Yes. The hope without action, the hope without a plan,
Yeah, the hope. Yeah, and again, it's the right action.
yes.
It's
Yeah.
not action, right?
The
I've
right
seen
action.
way too many people work at something so hard, but just the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anybody try to solve a Rubik's Cube and they're just like moving things, they're working hard
No
on
plan.
it? Well, they don't know the algorithm.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
When we're dealing with anxiousness, stress, right? Anxiousness falls under the stress category.
Yes.
Do you know what my definition is of stress?
Tell me.
When the current demand or the demand you perceive you will need in the future
Okay.
exceeds your perception of your current capacity.
Okay. But you said perception of your current
Well, you have this
capacity.
perception that my current,
Yeah.
I can't handle this.
Yeah.
How long will this last? You're not in
That's
control,
right.
right?
That's right.
So when demand exceeds capacity,
Mm-hmm.
we have the anxious circuit, stress circuit activate. And then
Yeah.
it starts with self-talk, rumination, which releases neurochemicals cause us to feel something. And then we
Mm,
just go on that rampage of we think what we feel what we think, we reinforce that, unbeknownst to us, we're reinforcing the very thing we don't want any more of.
exactly.
So what if we just started to increase your capacity? We're going
Yeah.
to increase your capacity of awareness. We're going to increase your capacity on your self-talk. We're going to increase your capacity to regulate your own emotions and feelings,
Mm,
increase your capacity of your skills. And we're going to increase your capacity by taking a little bit of action every day with the right actions
yeah.
in the right order at the right time.
Yeah.
There will be your recipe for you to feel, think, and be better.
Yeah. Wow, John, there's so much in there. And
Good.
we can do it. We can do it. There's no, and it
At
starts with
any
that
age.
commitment, right? The
At
commitment.
any age. You can do it at any age.
Mm.
Um, One of the visuals, maybe, Gina, I don't know how much time we're probably going to be running out for
Yeah,
time.
we'll be wrapping up. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to give people like just something to consider.
Yeah.
When I have an audience in front of me,
Mm.
I ask them how many of you could jog slowly a marathon right now. Like I am 63. I weigh 195 pounds. I have 10% body fat. I have a six pack at 63. I'm in phenomenal shape for my age. Now, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm going to add this piece. I can't jog a marathon right now.
Right.
I know kind of what to do, but if I and you, Gina, and
Mhm.
many people here, maybe there's some people that they just can't. Maybe there's a disability that they can't. I get that. But let's say you could, but you didn't know how to. If we
Right.
made a commitment to slowly jog a marathon like Oprah did, right,
Yeah.
years ago, a year from now, starting with being sedentary
Yeah.
and out of shape,
Yeah.
could almost all of us a year from now, if we made a commitment to learn, well, what should my exercise plan be for today? For some people, it'd be just like stand up and sit down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to start small.
For other
Mhm.
people, it'd be just move your finger.
Like mom.
People would be walk a minute. For other
Mhm.
people, it's like, yeah, go for a short jog for 10 minutes. So if we calibrated everybody's training regimen for exercise, for
Mhm.
nutrition, for rest, for food, for sleep, the five things that we need, and we
Yeah.
knew what you should do based on where you are, would everybody make progress that committed for in the next 30 days? Progress.
Absolutely.
And would we make a
Absolutely.
lot more progress in 90 days?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those people
Yeah.
that maybe just move their finger
Mhm.
the first week, maybe they're walking a mile in 90 days.
Yeah.
But if you're walking a mile in 90 days, maybe 90 days from that, you could be running 1 mile.
Yeah.
And if you could run 1 mile 6 months from now, right? Maybe, 90 days from that, you could be running 5 miles. But you see, what happens is we can make the commitment first, and we can come back even though don't know what to eat, how much to sleep, how much to rest, what kind of food to eat, what kind of shoes to have. Should I run or jog in the morning and stretch? Like all that comes after I make
Yeah.
a commitment to a new outcome.
Yeah. Yeah.
The first part is don't settle. Don't settle
Yeah.
for what's going on right now.
Yeah.
And just say, you know what, I'm going to choose a better version of me.
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Choose happiness. I'm going to choose positivity. I'm going to choose. I don't know how. I don't know how, but I'm going to choose that. And
Yeah.
I'm going to learn how.
Yes.
And I'm going
Yeah.
to learn how in a methodical, doable, safe, secure way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can find people like Gina, people like me. We can
Yep.
find the how after we commit to the what.
Yeah. Yeah. And we can find that after we've made the commitment and are willing to stick with I think making a commitment can be difficult. And knowing that there are people out there to help, like you, John, and myself, and all the other people that my listeners have run into that are helpful, actually making a plan to touch in with these things and make the commitment. I always tell people to find a camp and stick with it because sometimes people try 800 different things and you don't make a lot of progress usually.
Like a little bee.
So while we're there, John, why don't you tell my audience all of the places they can find you and learn more about your work?
Yeah. Um, if anybody wants to look at the Inner Size app,
Mhm.
there's inner sizes that we have. It's brain training inner size with me as your
Yes.
mindset coach and mental fitness trainer. And
Yep.
all you need is a pair of headphones or earbuds. And I'll walk you through a series of inner sizes. I'll walk you through courses, programs for health and self-image and self-worth and self-esteem and for stress reduction and for getting rid of overwhelm and
Mm.
money. And there's literally 600 different inner sizes, beautifully organized by
Yeah.
category, to help you train your brain to achieve whatever it is that you want to stop or start. And then we have world-renowned expert video trainings in our expert series. We have an entire program on more self-confidence. We have an entire program with videos and workbooks and manuals on losing weight and keeping it off. And it's all in the Inner Size app. And the investment, I'll let people know up front, is like $99 for a year access
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
$12.99 a month,
Yeah.
or $99 for lifetime. So they can
And
do
it's nicely organized. It's really well put together, John. Hat
that.
tip.
Yeah, so there's tens of thousands of people enjoying it right now. I think there's like
Hmm.
1,100, five-star reviews on Google and Amazon. I'm sorry, Google
Hmm.
and Apple. So innersize.com or the app.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
they can take a look at my New York Times best-selling books on Amazon. Inner Size is one of the books we have, or they can look at my books, or they can go to my Instagram page at John
Okay.
Ashraf. I post every day. They can take a look at my YouTube videos. I have hundreds of videos that have been seen by
Yes.
millions of people. They can go to johnasraf.com if they want to read more about me, or myneurogym.com if they want to find out about our company. So I'm all
Yeah.
over social media. I write
Yes, you are.
live events for free. We have coaching programs for money and business. But we specialize in helping people strengthen their mindset
Yeah.
and really train their mindset and emotions so they can achieve whatever goal they want to. And sometimes
Yeah.
we have to, all of us, like stop doing something.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
stop some stuff. We have to stop some of the negative, disempowering stuff
Yeah.
that's holding us hostage. It's causing us to procrastinate, self-sabotage, and to settle our life away.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
so that's the work I'm passionate about. And it's work I love to help people with.
And you've been doing it a long time. And I am so grateful that you would spend time with me and my listening family. And I will put a link to all of those in the show notes so it'll be easy for people to find you. And John, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and and do keep in touch. We're thrilled to have had you here.
And we'll do special for your audience, and I'll have you connect with David.
Oh,
If you would
what?
like, I will give you a link for everybody to download one of my little mini books on the power of gratitude.
Oh, that would be lovely. Thank you. Make sure David gets me that link.
I'm going to make a note of that right now. I'm going to take a sheet of paper here, and I'm going to make a note.
You're like me. I always have to make a note.
Well, yeah. I'm making a note right now. Gina, it's been,
Wonderful.
so wonderful being with you and your audience, and thank you for the privilege of serving you and them.
Thank you so much, John.